Hi guys, and welcome to a battle between the mighty Pactor, representing all of Clan ODM, up against Hubert J. Farnsworth, the Professor himself, in a battle between the Dark Elves and my precious Lizardmen. So let's see how this battle goes underway. So we do have Sword of Torgold as the map, rather large map, loads of open terrain, and of course there is much debate in the community at the moment about Scourge Runner Chariots, although I believe there has just been an update nerfing them slightly, but this is pre-nerf. Looks like the replay is a little jumpy, but we should be good. So let's go through Pactor's build first. We do have two Scourge Runner Chariots, one of them being the Regiment Renowned version, the Ravengers of Rakarth, which are very cool there, have an extra snare net, making them even tougher to catch. So these guys are very good against large dinosaurs and pretty good at running over skinks as well. Apart from that, he's gone for a fairly defensive formation, front line of Dread Spears, 1, 2, 3, 4 there along the front line. In the back pocket, he does have some Hageneth Executioners and also some Blackguard of Nagarond. These guys, apart from looking incredibly cool, are very, very tough. Obviously, Blackguard of Nagarond are a Halberd unit, giving them that bonus versus large, whereas the Hageneth Executioners will eat Saurus all day. On the flanks, we do have a unit of Cold One Knights on either flank here, fairly decent against Lizardmen, although they do lose to the Spear Riders of the Lizardmen. Up in the trees here we have some Dark Riders with shields, being a little bit sneaky in a Vanguard deployment, and we also have a Repeater Bolt Thrower as well to round off the army. For leadership we do have Malekith on top of his Black Dragon here. Look how badass he looks there, floating in, resting his sword on his shoulder. He of course has Soul Sealer and Noxious Breath, so going very light on the spells there. Now for the Professor, the Mad Genius himself and his Lizardmen, of course expecting some chariots, going for a bit of a counter here. So he does have 3 units of the Chameleon Skinks up front to do a bit of long range damage. He also has an Ancient Salamander who I haven't seen in quite a while. It'll be interesting to see how he fares here. If he can get some shots into the Blackguard or the Hageneth Executioners, he will get some fantastic value. We also have 2 units of the Cold One Spear Riders. As previously stated, they will be Cold One Knights one-on-one. But of course with support, magic and so forth, you never really can tell. For his main battle line, we do have 1, 2, 3, 4 units of the Saurus Warriors, all with the shields. Looks like we have just one which is chevroned up over in the distance there. These guys will do pretty good, easily mulch through Dread Spears and so forth, but again, pretty light on the infantry, trying to deal with those cavalry and the skirmish game, which is really key in this matchup. We also have a Skink Priest of Beasts here on top of a Stegodon, coming in with that mighty big crossbow, which is very, very effective up against the what they're called, the Scourge Runner Chariots there. And let's see what he has brought. So he has brought the Amber Spear, and we also have Cube of Darkness and all that good stuff. So yeah, nice little Castle Lord there onto a big old beastie. In the back line, we do have Lord Mazda Mundi. Now, he's going to be his main spellcaster here. Let's see what he has brought himself. Of course, he has Ruination of Cities, his very own spell. Banishment, Shield of the Old Ones, Apotheosis for that healing, Harmonic Convergence, and of course, Net of Amantok. So I can definitely see some net plays coming in here and swarming on top of those chariots for all this ranged firepower. So let's get this battle underway. And as you can see, early shots from the Repeater Crossbow, or Bolt Thrower, sorry, is going into those Cold One Spear Riders, doing a decent amount of damage. So early skirmish going in, fending off those Scourge Runner Chariots, just trying to keep them at bay with the Chameleon Skinks there. They're a pretty decent counter for them. Of course, don't do the most damage, but at least force them back. And now Malekith is taking a little bit of damage himself as well. Ancient Salamander looks like was duking a few of the shots there. We can see them flying in now, but all going a bit short. And he's going to be vomiting some flame over on top of these spear and get some instant great value on there. He already cleared off a few of the models. So we'll see how this match lines up. I'm assuming it's going to be quite tight and kind of skirmishy early on, and before the main engagement gets underway. But the longer it takes, the more damage that Ancient Salamander is going to do, really softening up this front line. Saurus Warriors are going to love that little present for them. But the Chariots getting some return fire now, doing a little damage on the Ancient Salamander, forcing these Chameleon Skinks back as well. And the Repeater Bolt Thrower, I keep calling that a crossbow, is now starting to rain in on the Ancient Salamander as well. And you can see how much damage those chariots do when they do make their connection there, bringing that big fella down a few more hit points. So another flame attack goes in, only just skims the Dread Spears this time, not doing too much damage. And it looks like we are getting an Apotheosis on this Salamander. It's been pretty key early on, keeping that guy alive, can get him some super nice value here. Looks like Pactor knows this and is going to be forcing forward his troops as some more Dread Spears go into the death, just immolated by pure flame there. But the Salamander taking huge work from those Scourge Runner Chariots, plus the bolt throw. Every time he stops to shoot, he's taking massive damage. He needs to fall back and possibly get another heal off himself. Looks like the Skink Priest of Beasts is going to be moving up, getting that crossbow ready as well to do a bit of counter skirmish. And the Chameleon Skinks are falling back as well. But that bolt thrower is a really nice inclusion here. There's nothing in Hubert's army to really threaten it and get back there and actually sort it out. And it's allowing Pack to do that long-range skirmish without sacrificing his chariots. As you can see, this build is very prepared for those chariots. So only up to 6 kills so far on the Reaper Bolt Thrower, but you know, it's done huge damage to the Ancient Salamander, who's getting another Apotheosis come in and is starting to take off Cold One Spear Rider models, which is very, very key here. So it looks like we have had Malekith float out over to the side here, trying to support some Dark Riders who have now swooped in from their tactical kind of hiding position over there, but we do have the Cold One Spear Riders pushing out, just fending those guys off. He doesn't want to get his Chameleon Skinks under too much threat there. The Skink Priest up to 7 kills now, been firing shots in, probably trying to get on top of the Squadron of Chariots. But I think the Lizardmen really need to start pushing this. That Bolt Thrower is going to constantly do damage. The Skink Priest taking a little bit, but I suppose if he wants to, you know, wait it out and use Apotheosis and use up his magic for the healing, then he can do that as well. It's a viable tactic. Cold One Spear Riders almost going in on some Dark Riders, but having to fall back. Squadron of Chariots are over here in support as well as Malekith and some Cold One Knights. So those guys definitely want to get out of there. And it looks like the Lizardmen are deciding they have to push forward here. Ancient Salamander once again taking an absolute pounding from the long-range skirmish play here from the Dark Elves. Thinking about shooting, but instead going to fall back. And once again, another Apotheosis. That is the third one, I believe. Looks like we're having a cav engagement over on this flank. Cold One Spear Riders will easily mulch up Dark Riders, but Malekith hops in with support of Cold One Knights. And those guys will tear apart these Cold One Spear Riders. Looks like the other bros are coming over to support, but I think it's going to be a little bit too little too late. Chameleons are over here helping as well, but Squadron of Chariots going to swoop around the outside and hop to his Chameleon Skinks. Amber Spear does come in. Looks like it gets a Cold One Knight, but nothing too crazy. Saurus are starting to engage in the front line alongside these Spearmen. So let's have a little quick overlook of the battlefield. This section will go very well for the Lizardmen, pushing through these Dread Spears here, although there are some Cold One Knights in support and the elite troops to push up as well. Over on the flank, it looks like the Dark Elves did pretty damn good. They didn't take too many losses and managed to completely shatter one unit of Cold One Riders. Looks like a big old Spirit Leech did go off as well. And Malekith is going to be falling back. So far looking pretty good for the Dark Elves. Managed to kind of collapse on this right-hand flank. Elite Troop should help out in the centre pocket as the Ancient Salamander is out of position and being forced away by the Cold One, or Squadron of Chariots, sorry. But this is the perfect time for him to push forward. The Chariots are over here with Malekith. There's nothing too big to threaten them here. The Bolt Thrower wants to target down the Cold One Riders and Mazdamundi, so get the Ancient Salamander in here and get him start doing some of that decent damage. And it looks like that's just what he's done. A huge shot does come in, but unfortunately clips the back of some poor Saurus warriors there. The Blackguard seem to survive that round, but I'm sure the Ancient Salamander will be back firing some more shots. And here goes with a second shot over the top here. Is it going to land a little bit better this time? Boom! Straight into some Blackguard and doing some really nice damage right there. Squadron Chariots though, trying to push onto some Chameleon Skinks. I'd push these Chameleon Skinks out to engage a little bit with the support of the Skink Priest and keep those guys at bay. Big banishment coming down as well from Mazdamundi onto the Blackguard of Nagrand. Absolutely shrekking those guys. These guys are really low health now. And really nice play overall by the Lizardmen. And in the front line, Pacta pushed up his Harganeth Executioners onto these Saurus Warriors, and they will delete them very, very quickly. Apart from that, though, the rest of his front line is starting to struggle. But the skirmish play over in the distance here, very patient play of those Squadron of Chariots, not committing them when he doesn't have to, making sure they use their ammo wisely. Just as I say that, he is currently shooting Chameleon Skinks, but for the most part, been using them very wisely. Malekith just dropping Soul Sealers where he can, float in and kind of prod in this army. Slowly breaking through the Lizardman forces, kind of got them a little bit more stretched now. Chameleons over here, Salamander here. The Skink Priest, knowing it's going to have to force its way into the front line, as those Harganeth Executioners are doing a pretty decent job. But in comes the Skink Priest, flattening some of those guys. That is a good target for him. He should be able to run them over fairly effectively. Cold One Knights are engaging some Cold One Spear Riders and are winning at the moment, but Mazdamundi is floating over and on his way. A big net comes down as well, but Malekith does somehow get back up into the air. But this Squadron of Chariot is in deep, deep trouble here. The Skink Priest is going to be going to absolute town on it. Shield of the Old Ones is popped as well to protect the Skink Priest, which is a pretty nice play, but Cold One Riders are going to be coming in as we speak. So the front line looks like the Dark Elves did buckle, but the Lizardmen couldn't take this opportunity to push back onto Reaper Bolt Thrower. Jesus, I don't know what it is today. I can't say that Reaper Bolt Thrower for some reason, but it has run out of ammo anyway. Malekith comes swooping, trying to snipe out this Skink Priest here, or Beast, which isn't a bad shout. Cold One Riders thrown into support. Chameleons trying their best to support from long range, but they do have some Cold One Knights running into their flank and some Spearmen pushing through as well. That Priest is in danger close here. If he can get Apotheosis, that'd be pretty clutch right now. But it looks like he's probably going to break his leadership. No, maybe he might stabilise with Mazdamundi so nearby. The Blackguard have been incredibly beaten up here, but Saurus Warriors and charging Salamander, hunting down the Scourge Runner chariots there, trying to get vengeance for all those bullets he took early on. But he's going to be running back now, and it looks like there's in fact going to be a concede there by Hubert. I think that was a little bit too early. I mean, yes, the Skink Priest did go down, then I think it was most likely going Pacta's way. A very healthy Malekith could now swoop on top of Mazdamundi with not too much pressure. There wasn't many Lizardmen forces around, but he still had a fairly healthy Ancient Salamander who could do some shots onto the infantry, and a full health Mazdamundi. But still, I think that was going Pacta's way, so very well played by both players, and let's go check out the end stats. So, very competitive game, super close there, a ton of early game skirmish, really showing the power of the Scourge Runner chariots, but at the same time you need a good player to command them. At many points a very less experienced player could have got them caught there by Chameleon Skinks, netted by Mazdamundi, and then just destroyed by that Skink Priest on his Mighty Stegodon. At the end, one of them did get caught, I believe, but it looks like they managed to escape overall fairly unscathed. The Dreadspears did their job, they just held the line, got eaten by Saurus Warriors basically, but allowed the more key elements of his army. The Hagenef Executioners did a great job carving through that front line. Cold War Knights as well traded very effectively. It was all about that Reaper Bolt Throw and that long range damage, and the Scourge Runner chariots picking apart Hubert's army, which is really good. And great Malekith play as always, he's such a competitive lord. I tend to get him killed because me and dragons don't always end well, but 68 kills, not too bad at all. Now I quite like this Lizardman build for countering the Scourge Runner chariots. It was just unfortunate for him, he came up against a very good player. The Ancient Salamander, interesting pick, 62 kills, still a very good unit, nowhere near as good as it was when it first came out, but I don't know if I'd pick it when Scourge Runner chariots are around, but maybe he thought he could fend them off with the Skink Priest and the Chameleons, but very close game, and hope you guys enjoyed. That was super fun to cast. If you enjoyed, please do leave a thumbs up, and if you're new to the channel and want to stick around and see more content, we do live streams, tournaments, all that good stuff, then feel free to hit that subscribe button. But until next time guys, peace, and stay awesome.